You know what? Since you want to tell me so much about you, why don't you entertain me? Why don't you sit here and, instead of me reading my bullshit, now you become my bullshit. I can't do it, bro. I done tried this shit like 5 times. I can't do it. Wolves. Wolves are very lucrative intellectual creatures. They always use more numbers as a form of advantage. Pigs. Pigs are greedy. Pigs love rolling around in mud, and they really go good as a side with pancake. Cops. They're cops, by the way. I'm not talking about actual animals here. We're talking about cops. Straight to DMV, from MD, y'all know me, it's your boy YJMT, and I'm back with another banger. Yes, sir! I don't know about y'all, but I'm hungry. So we got some course meals coming up. First dish is a nice, cold-hearted plate of Denzel Washington in the movie Training Day. No, I know what you're thinking. How do we get wolves and pigs to Denzel Washington? Hold on, gang. Just listen. We're gonna get there. Today, we're gonna be talking about Denzel Washington's character, Alonzo Harris, in the movie Training Day. After you get your first course meal, now it's time for your second course. The second course is talking about Sidney Poitier's very important role in The Heat of the Night. If you've never heard of Sidney Poitier, he is the reason of why we have a Denzel Washington today. We got a lot to unpack. We'll be talking about Sidney Poitier and comparing him to Denzel Washington in both of their respective roles. We will be talking about how they were both a wolf among the pigs. You see what I did there? You see what I did? You didn't see what I did there. Okay, let's get into it. First things first. Before we continue with this video, I need you, and I'm talking strictly to you. Come here. Let's just come just a little bit closer. Come here. I need you to like the video. We're gonna talk about Sidney Poitier first. It's kind of surprising that that he didn't get an Oscar for that movie. Today, we'll be addressing how the characters have some similarities and how the characters have some differences. How both fulfill and complicate the angry buck archetype and the angry black man stereotype. Along with the angry black man stereotype, we will also be talking about how both characters represent stereotype threat in both of their respective films. We're going to talk about Jake Hoyt just a little bit. It's not going to be too much, but he's going to be incorporated in there. We'll also answer a question that is old as time on Morgan Freeman. Could they both be considered a new role for the new leading black man on film? Let's begin. Could you describe to me Alonzo Harris? You mean Denzel Washington? I mean, he's a black male. Mm-hmm. He's a stubborn asshole. Did you see the way that he treated Jake on the first time he met him? He literally answered the phone and then hung up on him. What? He's a very horny man. This man literally said, "Was she lick her lips?" What? Like who comes up with stuff like that? He literally said to Jake, "I can knock your wife up. I had 4 sons. I don't miss." That's beyond levels of disrespect. Like, bro, me personally, those are some fighting words. I can knock your wife up. If she needs a son, I don't miss. You know what a train is, don't you? He steals from civilians whenever he gets the chance. That was a 1978 black Chevy Monte Carlo on lowrider wheels. And apparently he likes Dr. Dre because he just started blasting him randomly. Don't know what that has to do with anything. Apparently he's a narcotics officer for LAPD. Now that I say that, he does look familiar. Anyways, he's now working with a cop by the name of Jake Hoyt. You can tell he's definitely a rookie. If you could describe him in one word, what would it be? A buck. With a twist. Pause. What about Virgil Tibbs? You mean Sidney and he's also a black male. He wore a fresh suit and tie. Nothing flashy, just something to get from point A to point B. No bling at all, doesn't like wearing jewelry. He's a semi-stubborn asshole, but he does have some changes to him over time. He's very well put together. He doesn't want to do the sexy time with anyone. He's a black Philadelphia homicide detective who's catching a train to a southern town? Wait, did I read that right? Was that right? Was that right? That was on the movie? Okay, that's weird. He was working with an experienced cop named Officer Gillespie. Pretty round-sized guy. He was a thing or three about solving murders, specifically with postmortem. Really good at identifying dead bodies and how they died. Real detail oriented. Solid guy. Okay, I'm gonna ask again. If you could describe him in one word. A bug with a twist. How are they both bucks, but with a twist? First off, a buck is a savage, angry black man. Buck will cut off their own nose, spite their face. Basically what that means is that they'll react in a way that is over the top and they can possibly cause harm to themselves or people around them, and it wouldn't really make a difference to them or not. Lastly, the buck archetype is willing to be destructive to those around them to achieve their true desires and wants. Very important part, just remember that. Starting with Sidney Poitier's character, Virgil Tibbs, he fulfills this in a way. When Virgil enters the movie, he's basically portrayed as an angry black man from the start, right? He does not smile at all. If you were to tell him the word smile existed in the dictionary, he probably wouldn't believe you. He's extremely serious most of the time, and he never cracks a joke in the movie. So it almost feels as if he's like an emotionless character initially. He smacks a white guy on camera, gang. Like, hold on, let's talk about it. This is the first time that a black man has retaliated to a white man. Virgil realizes that this beef that he has with Mr. Endicott causes him to direct Endicott as a prime suspect. So it's no concrete evidence that he was there to commit the murder. Endicott said, psh, and then Virgil said, psh, 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 psh. Virgil is very intelligent, and he wears very well-suited clothes. He wears like a suit and tie. He's working in a southern town, so he's working around cops that are more redneck-ish. The whole storyline on how this interaction started is because Virgil was trying to catch a train at night, and he ended up in the town. The train was down. He was sitting in this train station, and the southern cops had saw him as one of the suspects for the murder. So they came up to him and just had guns aimed at him because some person reported that they saw somebody in the train station. After being racially profiled, this man decides to help this town out with this murder. He complicates this though, multiple ways. He shows grace to the white people that have done him wrong. He has character growth by acknowledging his own flaws and how that took him away from the main thing that he was here for. He has this sense of confidence in bodily agency. In modern day terms, they call it aura. There's also a three-dimensional character with interiority. Basically what that means is that he had thoughts, feelings, and desires. He's not one-dimensional. He's a very complex person. In the movie, he states that he is a single man, and even throughout the movie, he showed no form of sexual desire. Even with the promiscuous Miss Purdy, a minor. Anyways, he gets back on track. See what I did there? Because he got caught in the train station and he was trying to catch a train in the first place. After getting back on track, he solves the murder. The movie was made in 1967. While trying to solve this murder, he doesn't jump the gun. He actually goes into the cells with a couple of the suspects and talks to them one-on-one and has a casual conversation to see where they were during the time of the murder. It shows that even though he is doing his job as a detective, he still has this human interaction with humans. Hands down, he is the most intelligent on the police team. Whew. Okay, now, Alonzo on the other hand. Alonzo is his own can of worms. That's where this fit is inspired from. See, I got the black do-rag. I don't have a black wool cap. I do have gold glasses. Alonzo fulfills this role, in my opinion, more than Virgil did. Because initially, from the get-go, he's painted as an asshole with no context. He uses people as puppets to get what he wants. He literally has 4 or 5 rookie cops under his belt that he uses to help with his crime and robberies. If you're shown initially as the bad guy with no context, then people are going to automatically read you as the bad guy because there's no reasoning for it behind it. There's no change. It's seen as one-dimensional. Initially, he's very well spoken. He's very calculated and very articulate with his word choice. He's a very smart buck. A straight up hornball, bruh. Do I even gotta repeat what was said in the interview? He will harm anybody, and I mean anybody, for his own personal gain. In the beginning of the movie, we're introduced to Roger when Alonzo and Jake go into the house. They're sitting up there chopping it up with him. It seems like everything is good, everything's fine. During this time, they come up with a plan to get money because, as we learn later in the movie, Alonzo's in debt. You know, the one thing about them Russians, they do not play by their money. Basically asks Roger for money to see where the money is in the house, and after finding it and digging it up, he tells Jake, the new rookie, to hit him. Now, when I say hit him, I don't mean throw like a little sissy punch and hit his shoulder. I mean kill him. Hit him. Hit him. You won't. This nigga called a shotgun a bitch, bro. He said, yo, hand me the bitch. Like I said, the bitch is a shotgun. I'm not talking about a female. I would never use that word personally. That's not how I roll. After realizing that Jake isn't gonna hit him, Alonzo gets up and stands up and he says, you know, sometimes if you want to get shit done, you gotta do shit yourself. Pow! Roger is gasping for air like a fish out of water. And this nigga Alonzo is gonna go to him and say, yeah, that's right. Breathe. Breathe in. Just let it go. Do you know how sadistic that is, bro? Like, that shit is crazy. After all that, he does complicate it. Alonzo is not 100% a bad character. When he's in these scenes with Jake, he will have these moments of, like, gratitude. My nigga. Alonzo also does help the other characters with their own personal character development. For example, he tells Jake not to be soft, and he tells him to basically leave all his love life stuff at home so it doesn't interfere with how he performs at work. Alonzo even agrees to put the rookies in better positions after working for him. He says, Jake, listen to me. You give me 18 months, and I'll give you a career. At the beginning of the movie, we are informed that Alonzo has 4 sons. He made that joke about Jake's wife, bro. Like, I feel so bad for him when I heard that. I was like, damn, you just gonna sit there and take that? That couldn't be me. There's one soft spot moment with Alonzo in the movie. Alonzo is at home and he sees his son on the couch before him and Jake head back out to go back into the criminal world. He basically walks up to his son. There's one instance where he asks him in English, are you alright? Alonzo then kisses his finger and then puts it on his forehead, basically like kissing his forehead, and then heads out. As an audience member, it feels that, like, okay, Alonzo's not completely an asshole. There's some context for why he does the things that he does. Now, getting back to how he's a buck. He's a buck with context. Shows empathy to those that he truly loves and cares about. In another scene, while Jake is driving, he tells Jake to pull over. Jake is questioning if he still wants to be able to work with Alonzo after all the stuff that he's done, and basically after the murder of Roger. Alonzo breaks it down to Jake like this, by asking a very simple question. Now you, Jake, you have to decide if you want to become a sheep or if you want to become a wolf. After killing Roger, Alonzo decides to shoot one of the rookie cops to make it seem as if it's a setup. Instead of like taking the bullet himself, he chooses to direct it to one of the rookies. So basically they get their asses covered when the actual police come. Alonzo does this by holding Roger's hand over the trigger so that if they were to fingerprint the gun, it would come back to Roger. Alonzo has this one quote that I found is so minor in the movie, but it's honestly one of my favorite quotes. You know, sometimes I try to do good in the community. It implies to the audience that he looks out for the neighborhood that he is living in. Alonzo is walking into his projects. Alonzo is met by some black gang members, and they basically thank him for getting them off the books. So basically like stopping them from going to jail and getting locked up. Alonzo's looking out for people, you know what I'm saying? It's not just him going and killing people and being sadistic and completely narcissistic. Like, he has context for these things. He has a child that he's taking care of. He has a neighborhood that he's also looking out for. And he's also becoming an inside member to capture the big crime people that they're looking for. He also brings economic value to the community. Now, when I say economic value, I mean drugs. So don't think that he's just setting up a bank somewhere and then just starting people's bank accounts and shit. No. Question 2. How does In the Heat of the Night and Training Day show how stereotype threat works? Stereotype threat works by individuals at risk of conforming to negative stereotypes about their group. A person might be judged on their own stereotypes rather than personal merit, and a huge level of difficulty for a sole person to represent a whole group of people in one given setting. Now that you know how stereotype threat works, let's talk about In the Heat of the Night. Virgil Tibbs is shown as an angry black man stereotype. He's authoritative, abrasive, and intimidating, but doesn't like playing around or like messing around with time. He really wants to solve this case and will let nothing or anyone distract him from doing that, besides himself. He acknowledges the difference between reacting versus responding, basically showing all the white people in the movie grace and turning the other cheek. Virgil Tibbs is needed by the white cops and not the other way around. Just like an Olympic runner, Virgil Tibbs has all these hurdles thrown at him, and he just keeps on running through them, running into others and maybe tripping a little bit. But Virgil always gets back up and he keeps on running to finish the race. He pulled himself together and realized that these were distractions and got right back to business and ended up solving the case. By acknowledging these flaws, he's now shown as a three-dimensional character. Okay, didn't know V-Tex was still loud, but you know, it's not the 90s anymore. He has no sexual agency or desire. He doesn't lust for anyone. So, he's very intelligent and poised. All of the decisions, well, most, are calculated ones. Now, for training day. Remember how I said that I was going to talk about Jake for a little bit? Jake is introduced to us as a rookie cop. He goes by the books. He kind of seems just like a soft guy, a very easy pushover type of fellow. Jake goes against this stereotype. Jake uses force and violence to stop some of the crimes in the movie. He literally gets jumped in multiple fights throughout the movie. He gets into a 2v1 with two junkies in an alleyway. Gets into a 3v1 with the Mexican cartel after Alonzo abandoned him, which is insane. Jake was fighting in an alley with two junkies. The junkies were trying to, let's just say, touch a girl that was getting out of class. The girl had dropped her ID. Jake picked it up after making sure that she was good and she walked on about her day. The Mexican cartel had found it in his pocket, and initially they thought he did something weird because, like, what are you doing, like, with my younger cousin's ID? The Mexican cartel member's name is Smiley. Smiley ends up calling his cousin to confirm and see where she was throughout the day. The cousin basically ends up confirming that she was getting jumped by these people in this alley and that she got saved by a white dude. The white dude is Jake. So, shout out Jake, man. Doing really good for the community. Jake is literally swinging on everybody. Like, it gets to a point where Jake is even fighting Alonzo's other rookies. It gets to a point where he goes so far away from the stereotype that he ends up shooting Alonzo at the end of the movie. Now, to clarify, he shot him in the ass. So you could kind of see it as a metaphor for Jake not wanting to cover Alonzo's ass anymore. So it's not a killing shot. It's not meant to kill him. He does it after Alonzo basically thinks that he won't shoot him. Like, he basically called him pussy. So he shot him. Literally in the ass. Alonzo has his moments of rage. There's one that comes to mind that we all know. Play the clip.
You think you can do this to me? You motherfuckers will be playing basketball in Pelican Bay when I'm finished with you. School program, nigga. 23-hour lockdown. Now I'm the man up in this piece. You'll never see the light of... And who the fuck do you think you fucking with? Huh? Who do you think you fucking with? I'm the police. I run shit here. And you just live here. I need my Oscar too, bro. I need my Oscar too. Like, y'all clearly can see. Well, you can't see because I'm dark. But I need my Oscar too, gang. Come on, gang. Give my fucking Oscar. Go ahead and give it to me. Hand it to me. Yep. Just hand it to me.
Oh, damn, that was a great job, man. I mean, you did that spot on. Like, it was almost exact. Like, you were Denzel Washington himself. Anyways, Alonzo makes sure to take care of those in his circle. Even though he did switch up on them countless times. Alonzo becomes a wolf to get closer to the other wolves. Alonzo becomes a corrupted cop to then be able to reach other criminals that are basically profiting off of the same thing. In essence, it's almost as if Alonzo is sacrificing himself for this line of corrupted business. Remember the wolf pig analogy that I was using earlier? We're just changing it up a little bit. Alonzo literally has a tattoo that says, "Death is certain, life is not." There's so many instances in the movie that predict Alonzo was gonna die that it almost felt painful to watch. Sitting at the table with the three wise men, one of them says, "I can't be talking to a dead man." And then Alonzo says, "I'm not dead yet." Alonzo always had the idea of death on his mind, but I think he never really actually thought it would happen to him. However, Alonzo does have that moment where he does kiss his son on the forehead. But as I was saying, Alonzo becomes a wolf to hunt the other wolves because it takes a wolf to take down a wolf. That was such a bar when I heard that. I was like, yo, he's low-key right. Alonzo literally owns a black lowrider as a cop. Specifically a 1978 Chevy Monte Carlo. I know that because I love cars and I just recognize cars. Anyways, he loves rocking all black. Like, he's not wearing a police officer uniform. He's not wearing no suit and tie. Alonzo also puts drugs and money back into his own community. Almost as like a sort of mini compound. On to question 3. Could Virgil Tibbs and Alonzo Harris be considered new faces for the new leading black male role? Virgil, yes. Alonzo, also yes. But in a different way. In 1967, you have to remember, this is during the time of the Civil Rights era movement. This is before the 70s, before we had all the funky funks. I feel like Sidney Poitier taking that role really helped set up us to have a Denzel Washington. To have these black male roles that don't jeopardize themselves by taking on leading roles that actually have lessons behind them. Also have characters that are developed to the point where they aren't one-dimensional. Anyways, back to Virgil. Virgil helps white people. Sum up Virgil tips in 3 words. Helps white people. Simple as that. That's the best way to describe it. He's the main protagonist and authority figure in the movie. He's intelligent, professional, and he has feelings. He has faults and praise because he is a 3-dimensional character. He has this level of confidence and swagger, and even when doing messed up stuff, he's still a solid moral character. This automatically makes him deserve main character status. Most importantly, Virgil is a neutered character, meaning he has no sexual agency in the movie at all. This is very, very important because blaxploitation would change that as a whole for the black leading male role. Now, Alonzo, he's a thief with a metal badge. Initially, he's shown with no context on why he's being so mean to all these people that he meets. And there's no reason to justify why he acts the way that he does until later in the movie. This is the very first time that Denzel Washington has acted as a villain in a movie. It's also funny because his young son at the time wanted him to do it. So I found that pretty cool. Alonzo has this complex personhood. On duty with Jake, he has this very emotionless, ruthless characteristics that helps him get his job done. Because again, he's role-playing as a wolf to get other wolves. However, while he's home with his wife and one of his 4 kids, I also discovered that he was one of the first black outlaw, black male leading roles, which up until this point had never seen this level of complexity for a villain character. Is this thing still on? In conclusion, I really did enjoy watching Training Day over again. Analyzing the movie was extremely fun. Like, I sat in the library for 4 hours watching the movie. Now, for Training Day, Denzel Washington did receive an Oscar in 2002. And while there, Sidney Poitier also received an Oscar that night. While Denzel was on stage, he personally thanked Sidney for being a trailblazer for African American cinema. I found that it's such a very wholesome moment because I learned there was a lot of similarities between him and Denzel. And it was a lot of obvious influence on Denzel from Sidney, which I found very cool and very wholesome. I really do enjoy it because it just shows that level of gratitude that Denzel has and that level of appreciation that he has for those that came before him. Now, he said, "I will always be chasing you, Sidney. I will always be following your footsteps. There's nothing I would rather do, sir. Nothing I would rather do." This Denzel-Sidney comparison has been a thing. In one of the sources that I found, they described Denzel's good role positions as Poitier style. That is quite literally, by definition, glazing, but more importantly, it's showing and recognizing that both of these black men have talent in African American cinema and have both left a lasting impact. A lot of critics thought that Denzel taking on this evil character role would deter his career and would honestly tarnish it. And I find that so cool how both Sidney and Denzel were holding an Oscar that night. 2 black men that we all recognize, whether you recognize Denzel or Sidney or both, receiving an award on the same night and recognizing each other's presence and thanking each other for the things that they do. Just remember, in order to catch a wolf, to protect the sheep, one must become a wolf to catch the wolf. Are you a sheep or are you a wolf? I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you never miss another high quality production like this. It's been your boy YJMT, man. I'm out, bruh. Straight out of DMV. Oh, almost fucked my intro up. Oh my god, okay. who is ambitious and intelligent. Why do niggas want to call me like as soon as I start recording? This is the shit I be talking about.